Hello, this is Dr. Deb Watry. This is an introduction to TCH 665 clinical practice. I'll be your observing supervisor for Marian University. And this is my contact information. Please make sure you save my phone number so you can get in touch with me if necessary in an emergency. I was the former department chair for teacher education at Marian University, and I retired about a year and a half ago, so I still do adjunct work for the university. So I'm happy to be working with you. One thing I'm going to ask you to do is to check your email regularly, Marian's email, preferably every other day in case I need to get a hold of you, or Phil or somebody else in the department needs to get in contact with you. It's very important that you check your email. So I know all of you have been in the course shell already, so there are a lot of resources for you. You need to be visiting there. Phil will post things for you, and I have an opportunity to read your journals and other things that you do post in there. Please know Phil Johnson is the person who runs the clinical program, so you do need to contact him if you have questions, or if I can't help you, we'll be talking with Phil during this time. Some of the resources that you'll find in MO2 will be the supervision process that I'll be using, the EdTPA, lots of very good resources in there for EdTPA, and also then how to develop your other documents that you'll need for your student teaching. So please make sure that you do visit that again often to make sure you're not missing anything, or to take a look at things that are due. Here's the students that I'm in charge of supervising for this semester, and it looks like a great group of students. I know that you probably have classes together, so that you do know somewhat a little bit about each other already, but I want to thank you for picking teaching as a profession. I think it is definitely a calling, and you are the future for our students, and it's very important that we get you off on a good show, but also know that I'm so proud of you for being involved in that teaching profession, and I'll help you as much as I can to be successful. So welcome to all of you. These are, I have to observe you 4 times. These are the time frames. Please put those in your calendar. September 18th through the 25th, please email me, talk with your cooperating teacher, pick some times, and please email me in particular. Don't have to worry about the second 3, but the first one in September, I want to get that schedule set so you know when I'll be coming, and you can start planning for that event. So this will be your first lesson. So I'll talk a little bit later about that, what probably I might see during that first lesson. So again, schedule with your cooperating teacher, email me. It's going to be first come, first served. There's 6 of you, so you have several dates to pick from. When I come to observe you, I expect you to fill out and send to me at least a day or 2 days before, preferably, using the EdTPA lesson plan. You will use that EdTPA lesson plan for anything that you put in your EdTPA portfolio, and also for the observations. You'll need to use that EdTPA. Generally, your EdTPA lesson plan should be about 2 pages long, so or more. So do take time in filling it out. It's a Word document, so you can type and send it to me ahead of time. And also then you have an opportunity to save it, and we can then talk about it when we have our conference. This is the observation form that I'll be using. And you get multiple copies, so you'll have a copy, your cooperating teacher will have a copy, and then my copy gets submitted to the university. So not all items will I be checking, especially that first time that I come to see you, and there's some things then that we can focus on. Some of it is planning from your lesson plan, some of it will be from the direct observation. Check to make sure that you've got your lesson plan sent to me ahead of time. Please go into that, as I said before, the course shell, and take a look at some of the requirements. A lot of resources there for special ed students that are going into special ed teaching, and for our K-8 or 1-8 teachers. And again, Phil Johnson's contact information is right here for you. I want to talk a little bit about some of the course requirements. One thing that you will be setting up is a reflection journal. So if you take a look at the week for September 3 and 6, your first journal is this week. Okay, so you do want to add things to this daily and weekly. So it's a reflection. You also will be starting to develop, and this is for your EdTPA portfolio, your teaching and learning context. And right below this, it doesn't show in the picture, there is a resource for what do you need to do for that EdTPA context assignment. Okay, so resource for you. Your journal, again, this is something that you do every few days or every weekly, or weekly for sure, and this gets submitted into the MO2 course shell. So Phil wrote that this week he wants you basically to be observing and then writing a reflection of several things that you see going on in your classroom. Some other resources for you. We'll very quickly let you know that this right here is the clinical practice. Where'd my cursor go? Sorry. This is the clinical practice, and portfolio. It's different from the TPA. You'll be doing 2 portfolios. Also, you'll find out here that your cooperating teacher has a midterm and a final evaluation form, and they'll be sent information on that from Marion. There's the lesson plan. Obviously, you can see that some of my works are still in the being used by the university, but when you talk about your lesson plan and you write it up for the EdTPA, they specifically look for the theorists that you're drawing your teaching style and things that you're doing in the classroom, so do make use of that. Some things you want to pay attention to is that planning calendar. November, I believe, it's November 23rd, your EdTPA portfolio is due. You are responsible for getting yourself registered, whether it's in Chalk and Wire or Pearson. And these 2 items, depending on where you are placed right now, are the current handbooks for the EdTPA. So you do want to make sure that you kind of download them, become very acquainted for the requirements for that. Some other things I want to ask that you, as soon as you can, send this video release form home with your students so that you have a record and know which students you might have to move to behind the camera or whatever, because the parents do not allow you to videotape. These are some resources for videotaping. In your EdTPA, you need, and in your lesson plan, you need to really hit hard the academic language that you're using in your teaching for the specific class and subject. So these are some other resources in your MO2 class for you concerning academic language. Wanted to point this out because, get this on your calendar, Phil will have a Zoom session with you, so that's done electronically. He'll be sending you further information, but put this on your calendar for Monday, September 16th at 6 o'clock. So your clinical practice basically is covered into 5 sections. You had orientation end of August with your cooperating teacher. You are in your initial, and I have to keep this in mind when I am coming to visit you. When I see you for the first time, it's your initial teaching. So obviously some things won't be polished, and that's what we take a focus at, taking a look at developing further. In October, your teaching should be fairly independent. October of the cooperating teacher, full-time teaching through November, December, and then in January you start a phase-out period. Okay, so that's the phases of student teaching. Some advice that I have for you is to really enjoy this experience. It's a time for you to develop those relationships with your students. with your cooperating teacher, to if you're in a team situation or a co-teaching situation, very inviting time for you to become part of a team. I'd like you to review the MO2 course shell, attend the required required assignments and meetings, and it's your responsibility to be knowledgeable about the EdTPA and resources. Phil has posted out there a calendar of when things are due. For example, the teaching context is something that's due early. Task 1 for EdTPA, Task 2, Task 3. I believe in November, he has probably already notified you that the first week in November is a boot camp at Marion, where you will not be student teaching, but in particular that Monday you'll be coming to Marion and working on developing that EdTPA portfolio. So please take a look at the handbook. It lays out how the kinds of videos that you need to collect, because you'll be doing video clips of several connected lessons. Take a look at the types of assessment that the EdTPA requires. Selecting your focus student or students. It's different if you're in special education versus the regular education. So you want to get that already started at the beginning, so that you're keeping up with the calendar and submitting your EdTPA portfolio on time. So again, this is what I look like. I look forward to working with you. I'd like you to send me an email that you've gone through this video, and that you also in that email send me your phone number in case I would have to get a hold of you because of an emergency. Talk with your cooperating teacher so that we can get something scheduled in those dates that I gave you for September. So if you have questions, I'm here to help. I'm excited to be working with you, and I know this is the exciting first couple of days of teaching, getting to know the students, getting to feel comfortable in that classroom. So good luck to you, and I'm going to be seeing you all very soon.